This conference will now be recorded.
Good afternoon. This is Jennifer Nigh. I see that you are logged in, but your microphone or telephone is not connected. There is a chat box on the GoToMeeting dashboard. If you can hear me and also see my screen, you can let me know that in the chat box. Good afternoon. This is Jennifer Nye. It appears that your audio is not connected. There is a chat box on the GoToMeeting dashboard that we can communicate that way if you're hearing me and seeing my screen right now. Hello there. I'm not sure if you can hear me or see my screen. It looks like your audio is not connected. I am typing in the chat box on the GoToMeeting dashboard, so perhaps we can communicate that way if your audio is not working.
Hello?
Hello, are
Hello?
you able to hear me? Hi, are you able
You
to
can
hear
hear
me?
me, right?
All right, wonderful. Are you able to see my computer screen?
So Jennifer,
Are
you're
you
with us.
able to see my computer screen?
Yeah.
All right, wonderful. Are we ready to get started?
Can you get the mic closer to you, please, so we can hear you clearer?
How does that sound?
Yeah. Is that good? You can hear that. Can you speak again, Dr. Jennifer?
Good afternoon, everybody.
Yeah. Now it's okay, right? Dr. Jennifer is an experienced educator and literacy specialist. Jennifer believes in the expertise of the teacher and the power of literacy. In her role as Director of International Academics and Curriculum, Jennifer's mission is to empower educators with the knowledge, resources, and research that can help every student reach their fullest potential. Here, Dr. Jennifer, can you hear me now?
All right, thank you very much
Okay.
for that
Okay.
introduction.
Thank
And
you.
good afternoon, educators. I hope you have had a wonderful conference thus far. And welcome to this quick 30-minute web presentation on using online resources to differentiate and maximize instruction, Science A to Z, and Headsprout. This session is actually a continuation of a session we held yesterday that also talked about differentiation. How many people do I have in my audience today?
Have anyone attended the first one? Okay. There are three people who attended yesterday.
Wonderful. Great. Well, welcome back. And if there's anybody new in the audience, thanks so much for coming. So just a quick, for those that are new in the audience, I'm coming to you from Ohio, where it is morning time. It's about 7:30 a.m. So I'm just starting my day today. So I'm excited to start with you.
Good
Also, for
morning.
those of you that are, I'm sorry?
Good morning, my dear.
Yes, good morning. I have my coffee right next to me. It's an early Saturday morning. um, so for those of you that are new to the audience, I am from Learning A to Z, which is a literacy-focused curriculum company that provides literacy-based resources for any developmental level of student that is learning to read, write, speak, and listen in English. We are in over 70% of all U.S. school districts and in 170 countries worldwide, and that continues to grow every single day. Learning A to Z has a variety of products, and yesterday we talked about a product called Raz-Plus, but today we're going to talk a little bit about a product called Headsprout, and we're going to dive a little bit more deeply into a program called Science A to Z. Now, as a quick review, yesterday we talked a little bit about differentiation, why differentiated instruction is important. So we're going to review those two things today. But most importantly, we're going to talk about how two additional programs, Headsprout and Science A to Z, can support that concept of differentiation. Now, I had a teacher in the audience yesterday when I asked the question, what is differentiation, who gave a beautiful explanation of that concept. Do I have that teacher in the audience again today?
We don't know, but we know what is differentiation.
Okay, so yes, that educator is not there today. So what I want to do then is give you all, since you're new, but also give my returning audience a moment to just discuss that. What is differentiation in your own words? But those of you that were here yesterday, perhaps you can extend those definitions based off of those 4 concepts we talked about yesterday. So take about 30 seconds, talk amongst yourselves. What is differentiation?
And based on their levels, you just give them activities related to their own level. That's differentiation. You can't just give the same topic, at different levels. Because you can't give the same task to everyone of different abilities. Everyone has different abilities. So that's why they do a lot of differentiation. And that's it. And the first sheet that it was for it has the SR and
All right, so educators, I'm going to bring you back together. And I wasn't quite able to hear the discussion, but I heard a discussion going on. So hopefully you mentioned something along this line, that differentiation is tailoring instruction to meet individuals' needs. And I know that when I was in the classroom, differentiation was one of the most difficult things for me to do. And when I go around the world and work with educators, I find that educators everywhere have that same challenge. Because we have students that come to us with different ability levels, different background experiences, different learning styles, and different needs. And it's really challenging as an educator to meet each and every one of those students where they're at in order to get them to where they need to be. However, we know that differentiation is extremely important. And the why is because of those different things that we just discussed. Even though each of those students is different in their needs, in their background, in their language abilities, they all still need to be able to acquire the same type of knowledge and skills in order to be successful in today's world. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk a little bit more about how we can use these 2 programs to help differentiate instruction. Because one of the things that I find very rewarding about technology and the use of it is that we could leverage technology to help us do something as challenging and as complicated as differentiating in our classroom. Now, I'm going to skip back for a second because I'm going to call on my teachers and educators that were in the audience yesterday. So I asked the question yesterday, how can I differentiate instruction? And we talked about 4 ways that you can differentiate and leverage technology to differentiate in your classroom. The 3 of you that were here yesterday, does anybody remember those 4 ways?
I didn't attend, Dr. Jennifer, but I would say creating lessons based on my students' need.
Great, absolutely. That's definitely one way. So what we did yesterday is we kind of broke those up into 4 general topics. And we said that we can differentiate based on research 4 ways. One is with content. So as educators, we can choose strategically tools and resources to use in our classroom with our students in order to differentiate what they're using in order to acquire knowledge and skills. So content is one way we can differentiate. Process is another way that we can differentiate. And process are the things we do with that content. So the experiences our students engage in our class in order to acquire language and skills and different knowledge. Okay, so we've got tools and resources we can differentiate. We've got experiences, which is process, but we also have products. And product refers to what a student does and how a student represents the knowledge and skills that they've acquired. So think about that. Oftentimes we use a quiz or a test. However, we can differentiate how a student demonstrates what they've learned by providing them tools and experiences to demonstrate that in different ways. Learning environment. That's just both our physical environment in our classroom, but that's also the environment outside of the classroom. And that's another place that technology can be leveraged in order to differentiate the learning environment a student has, just like we're doing right now. Unfortunately, I couldn't be there face-to-face with you all in the traditional sense. However, we're leveraging technology to adjust and differentiate your learning environment right this moment in order to have this learning experience. So how now can a new program called Headsprout help you to use technology to differentiate? And I think Headsprout is a great program in order to differentiate for content, so the tools that you're using, the process, so the experience the student is going through, and also the learning environment, because it's leveraging technology in a different way in order to differentiate. Now, before I give you a very quick overview of Headsprout, do I have anybody in the audience that's familiar with this program?
Which one?
Headsprout?
No, first time.
Okay, so as I mentioned, we're going to do, because of time, just a very quick overview. So Headsprout is an adaptive digital reading program that once your student is set up in it, it can run as it is. Now, the key word for Headsprout is the fact that it leverages adaptive technology, meaning that as the student is engaging and using this program, it adapts based on how they're performing. So if a student is doing well, it's going to keep moving them forward. If they're struggling with something, it's going to give them more practice and more skills in order to be successful with where they're at in order to move them forward. So it's adaptive and smart enough in order to help the student move forward. But how does it do that? Headsprout is a program that is broken up into 2 pieces. Headsprout has an early reading section, and that represents 80 different episodes. You can see here on this image, a student moves through this map of 80 different episodes. And when they move through these episodes, they're starting at the foundational level. And they gradually increase in complexity until the 80th episode, where they are reading proficiently. There is a great deal of research behind this program in that it is proven to have students wherever they're at and move them to proficient reading. Once they finish the early episodes, or perhaps they're already readers but they need help with comprehension, there's a second part of the program that gives students 50 episodes that are focused on comprehension. So let's go ahead and just very quickly look at that early reading. As I mentioned, the early reading part of the program focuses on foundational skills. So when a student is engaging in the early reading episodes, they are learning phonics skills, phonemic awareness skills, some basic comprehension, and they're also developing vocabulary. So all these building blocks that are critical to becoming a successful reader. Now, once they learn to read, remember, they need to increase their comprehension. Because as they grow and mature, they're going to need to be able to read to learn. So this part of the program helps students to become better at high-level comprehension. And it moves students through episodes that focus on close reading and text-dependent reading skills. All of those 21st century types of skills for comprehending text that students are most likely being tested on as they move through the grade level. Now, as students are working in Headsprout, because remember, it's adaptive. It does not require you, the teacher, to have to constantly change things in the program. The program and the algorithms that develop the program are smart enough to recognize how the student is doing and it adjusts their work in the program as needed. However, as an educator, you want to make sure that you get information that helps inform your instruction and your differentiation of instruction in the classroom. So the program is going to give you a great deal of data on how the student is doing with those various foundational skills and comprehension skills. The program also has benchmark assessments that are built in to give you more data to really understand your student and to help you differentiate your instruction. Okay. So let me stop there. This is just a very quick overview of this program, but does anybody have any questions before we move on to Science A to Z?
For which levels? Is it just for elementary or upper grades?
Okay, one of the audience is asking you about on which level can we use it?
When you say level, do you mean like age of student?
Elementary, intermediate, or secondary school?
You can use it any of the above, depending on your student's needs. Typically, the early reading is more primary because it's when students are learning to read. However, the comprehension piece, we've had customers use it all the way, through high school because it's focusing on comprehension.
Great.
Great question. Any other questions about that?
No.
All right, excellent. Okay, so we're going to dive into an additional program, and we're going to go into this one a little bit more deeply. But this is also another program that supports you, the teacher, in differentiating your instruction in the classroom. And I believe Science A to Z helps support each of those 4 areas that we talked about: content, so tools and resources, process, product, and learning environment. Now, Science A to Z is a digital program that gives you, the teacher, tools and resources to teach content and literacy skills, reading, writing, speaking, and listening. So it fully integrates both of those areas. And as the teacher, it's going to give you printable, projectable, digital, and mobile resources to really differentiate that learning environment in your classroom. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to bring up the live Science A to Z site. So that should come up on your screen in just a moment. So right now I am logged in to scienceatoz.com, and what I'm showing you right now is for you, the educator. So this is your toolbox to get resources, thousands of resources in order to teach content, science content, but also to help develop your students' language, literacy skills together. So when I log in as a teacher, I have this tab called Resources. And in these resources, I have the different domains of science: life science, earth and space, physical, and process. Now, within each of those domains of science, I have a variety of topic units. So, for example, in earth and science, earth and space, I have a unit on the solar system, which is a pretty common topic that is taught at some time in science. So let's say that I want to focus on the solar system in my classroom. I can click on that unit and I'm brought to that unit's landing page. Now, everything that's associated with this unit is here on this page. So I'm going to take a moment and I just want you to watch as I scroll down this page so you can see how much is associated with this one unit. And then I'm going to go ahead and highlight a few of those components. Okay, so hopefully as you can see that I'm scrolling down, there are thousands of resources here in Science A to Z and hundreds of resources to support this topic of solar system. So what are a couple of those resources that are available to you, the teacher? First, you have a variety of texts that are available. So as an educator differentiating in my classroom, I can use these to teach science, but perhaps I have a student that is just motivated and interested in this topic. I can use these texts to support motivation. All of these texts are also differentiated by text complexity. So you can see this one book, The Solar System, comes in 3 different levels: low, mid, high. So all the students in my classroom can interact with this book, but they can do so with the one that is most appropriate for them. And as a teacher, I can print this book. I can project this book onto my wall for whole group and small group instruction. Okay, and you can see I have all these tools over here in the left that allow me to make it interactive. Okay. And I can assign these books digitally to my students so that my students can access them through their own login, which I'll show you in just a moment. However, Science A to Z does not just come with hundreds of different texts. It also gives you hands-on science activities. It gives you short passages that are built to do project-based learning experiences. It gives you science fair resources. It gives you debate, so students can debate through oral language a topic associated with the solar system. It gives you videos, multimedia that you can assign to your students or use in your class by projecting on the walls. It gives you information about different careers in this topic. It gives you additional quick reads on focused topics, graphic organizers, science diagrams, games, and we can go on and on and on. So as an educator, this is your toolbox for teaching science and literacy. These resources are here for you to use in the way that makes the most sense for your classroom. Now, I want to very quickly show you what it looks like from the student's point of view. So when you purchase a license to Science A to Z, you get all of those science resources as a teacher, but you also get 36 spaces to give your students access to their own login and password. And your students can log in through any internet browser or any app and mobile device. And when your students log in, they have a unique login and password. And they will access their science planet. And this is what they'll see. Now, what I'm showing you right now is the more primary view. As the educator, you can actually have two different platforms. There's this primary view, but there's also a more mature view for your older students. And the only thing that's different is the look of it. So for your more mature students, you can make the screen look a little bit more mature for them, the interface. Okay? But when a student logs in, they're going to be able to get all of their science activities from you. So for example, I assign this to Matthew, and Matthew can come in here now and he can listen to these books be read aloud. So let's go ahead and open this one. And this is a low level one. Or never mind, this is a higher one.
The world is a dangerous place.
Okay, so what you can possibly hear, I'm not sure how good our audio is in the web here. However, what it's doing is it's modeling and reading this text out loud for the student. And it's highlighting the phrasing in the word. This is really great for your English language learners who need to acquire this content, but are still not able to read this in English text. So you're able to accomplish both of those things and give your students those experiences that are differentiated. Your student can also open this book and read it on their own. If they come to a word they don't know, they can click on it and they can hear that word be read aloud. Up here, notice they have a variety of tools that they can use. They can record themselves reading this text out loud. And they can listen to that recording playback. But what's super great is that they can send this recording to you, the educator, so you have evidence of how they're reading and comprehending. Students can interact with the text, so you can have them highlight new vocabulary words. You can have them put question marks by places they don't understand. Whatever your learning objective is, they have these tools to be able to do so. There are post-it notes and also a word and reflections journal. Now, once a student completes reading and listening to the book, they will have a quiz that opens up to them. And when they complete the quiz, the system is going to provide you, the teacher, data on how they read and how they comprehended that text so that you can use that information in order to inform and differentiate your instruction. One other thing due to time that I just want to highlight quickly is there's a really great resource called Science in the News. And these are also differentiated based on text complexity. And there's a new one put out every single month. And these are relevant e-magazines on current science topics. Okay? So this month it is Undercover Moth. And you can see that it has up-to-date relevant science topics. So those are also available to your students. Okay. Now, teachers, I know that that was a very quick overview due to the time that we have, but I just want to remind you that all of these programs, both Raz-Plus that we talked about yesterday, Headsprout, and Science A to Z are going to give you tons of data so you know how your student is doing with a variety of science and literacy skills. And all of that also helps you to make decisions about how you want to differentiate in your classroom. Okay?
Okay.
Are there any questions about that?
You have any questions? No, it's clear.
Okay. So I just want to leave you with a quote that I left the audience with yesterday. And this is a quote by Dr. Carol Ann Tomlinson, who is one of the leading researchers and academics in differentiation. And she says that a teacher in a differentiated classroom does not classify herself as someone who already differentiates. Rather, that teacher recognizes that every hour of every day of teaching is a new opportunity to better match the classroom and the learning for the students. And I encourage you all, as you're in a tech conference and you're thinking about how you leverage technology, how can we use technology in order to help us with that big challenge of differentiation? Think about the tools you choose to use. Think about the experiences you give your students. Think about the ways you encourage your students to demonstrate what they've learned. And think about your learning environment. And I hope when you think about those things, you might think about Raz-Plus or Headsprout or Science A to Z. And I encourage you, if you are interested, go to learningatozz.com and you can sign up for a free trial for any of those programs. And if you ever have any questions or would like any more information, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. I'm happy to help in any way I can. And I really appreciate you all spending this time with me today. So thank you very much.
Thank you, my dear. Thank you.
You're welcome. And please let me know if you need anything. I'm happy to stay on if there's any additional questions.
Okay. That's great. What a great picture. Any questions? Dr. Jennifer, you still there?
Yep,
Do you have
I'm
an
here.
email? An email? Would you browse it so we can all contact you?
Yes, absolutely. So let me go ahead and just type it on the screen for you all. Give me one
Okay.
second.
Yeah. Here.
All right, there we go. Hold on one second. I made a typo. There we go. Okay. Yes, welcome to email me. Like I mentioned, we are in over 170 countries, and we do come to your school if needed, or your organization. We provide a great deal of professional learning, also academic talks, teacher workshops, so lots of different varieties available.
It was a great presentation, Dr. Jennifer. Thank you very much.
Yes, you're welcome. Thank you all. I hope you enjoy the rest of your conference.
Thank you, my dear. Thank you.
You're welcome.
That's it. I think it's the same idea with Raz-Plus.
Oh, so that's actually